I'd like to welcome her to the stage. She will share with us some insights around cultural awareness, inspiring diversity and traditions. So, Fesaitu, can you please join us on the stage? Thank you. Put your hands together, please.
Kia ora koutou, malo le se fumo le langi mama, malo e tau lava ki ora na tātou katou toa. Nisambula venaka, noaia e mauri malo ni tā lofa. What a way this afternoon. I thought there's going to be only 2 tables left, but there's heaps of you. Excited to present and humble on behalf of the Centre for Pacific Languages to present the RSE Cultural Awareness Framework, commissioned by MB for us to do this, and I'm leading the team as we complete this work in November. Just before we go on, and please just think of the wine that you're going to have at the networking event or that cold beer. So hang in there, give me about 10 to 15 minutes where I share where we're at in terms of this work. Just before we go on to the work that we've been commissioned, just to give you a little bit of and showcase who we are in the space. And many of you will probably have never heard of us, but we've been established since 1978, over 46 years in the space for the Centre. Rebranded 3 times and now called the Centre for Pacific Languages. We've got about 9 Pacific languages that we teach at the Centre, NZQ8, and we're launching 3 new languages, which is PNG, Solomone's, and also Vanuatu in the next couple of months. We also have a translation services arm of over 12 Pacific languages, and we're expanding that to other languages in Asia and also across Europe as well. So we are very honored to be servicing many of our Pacific Island and government agencies. Also, as part of our portfolio, we have a Speak Pacific app of 7 languages, and we look to develop and embed more languages as part of this work for the Centre. Also on our remit as well, we also have a cultural capability program, which is not there, but we've been doing this for over 5 years in the space. Also, as part of our newly introduced the media production services for the Centre for Pacific Languages. And now I'm going to just touch on the scope of work that we were given as part of this project. One is to have the engagement in Talanoa with our key stakeholders, including our employers and our RSE employees as well, our government agencies, and those who have a stake in the RSE scheme as well. And so this Talanoa and the scope of work that we were commissioned, the second part of it is to co-design the framework, the cultural awareness framework. And so this is part of the 2 phases that we were given to have and to conduct as part of the MB remit for us. And we are on this part of this work, we are on the 4th phase. We've completed the first 2, which is the discovery, and also we've also completed the design, and we are in the developing phase at the moment, shaping and testing this framework, which you're going to have the first look at the draft that we have completed so far. And so part of this is, as part of our development, it's through consultation at the moment. And we deliver this framework after it's endorsed and the consultation has been completed, and a report to MB at the end of November. So that's our work. As part of this work, we tasked at the end of June, and our team has moved really fast, running 500 miles an hour to complete this. And we have finished those 2 phases as we showed you. And those Talanoa and engagement, we have completed 17 employees, 39 RSE workers we've spoken to, 9 of the Pacific heads of mission, and also 10 from areas of pastoral care, NGO, local government, academics, and community leaders. And we have more to go, which we will welcome all of you if you want to be part of it. All of this, in terms of the 42 Talanoa sessions that we've had, we've collated 500 data points as part of this work. These data points are all condensed into 6 key areas of focus. One is well-being, second is leadership. The fourth one is it's not working. The fourth one is communication. Fifth one is education and training, and also policy and system as the sixth one. Our team used the Water of System Change framework, which structured it into 48% of structural explicit, and 25% is relational, and 27% is transformative. Part of this work, as our team looked to make that shift in terms of the framework, we decided to go to the framework narrative and how this was built. And so our team has worked alongside in terms of these key stakeholders, and we came up with all the research, a collated collection of different Pacific frameworks that are already existing in the space and been used by many of our organizations, from health to community to also in the Pacific as well. And so part of this is the narrative. Our team built around this, looking at the kumara as an introduction in terms of what this framework looks like. But the core of this is not just about the kumara, it is the soil. And what this framework will tell you is that on this framework, on the Cultural Awareness Framework, what is commonality for many of our RSE employers and also our RSE workers? And this is bounded on this picture here, is that our people came from the Pacific, and also from Timor-Leste will be part of it, is that they come here to harvest, to plant, and part of that is the connection between our people as tangata moana and tangata whenua. And that goes back to the land, the inua, the vanua, the whenua, and our hanua. This is the connection between our employers and why our RSE employees are here. And so this development looks at the core on three areas. One, as I mentioned earlier on, what does it look like for this? In terms of your left-hand side, the conditions for growth, right from the mindsets and values and beliefs to relationships and connections, to the enablers and the systems that are built above the surface, to what that looks like for this framework to be able to thrive here in Aotearoa. Now, above the surface, and what does it look like flourishing, and below the surface as well. And so what our team has done in terms of this is the unforeseen. At the bottom of this layer on relationships, connections, and mindsets is where the roots of change and the connectivity between our RSE workers and our RSE employers and our key stakeholders here in Aotearoa. What does it look like for many below the ground that many of us will never see? We only see the fruits of it through the aspirations and goals of our employers and our people, that you can see the fruits, you eat it, the profits, the productivity in terms of the work in the space for this RSE. And this gives us two aspects. Below the surface is the relationship and connections. It's important that what shapes what our people think, act, and also relate to each other in this space. How does it look like to anchor all of this relationship, all of the values and beliefs for both of these employers and employees, to ensure from a cultural lens that they continue to thrive in the same space for our people and also for their goals and aspirations here in Aotearoa. And so this again designs in terms of what does it look like, not just for our workers, but also for the employees, from top down, bottom up. What does it look like for communication, leadership? This framework will help to provide those tools and support systems and where they can connect to help them in the space for both and also for sustainability in the long term. And so this is where we look in terms of what that looks like from a thriving environment below the ground, and what happens also on above the ground, and what does it look like for us in the space as Pacific and workers and employers as well, that this becomes a sustainable model for future. And this is, as I see it, is a draft. The visibility that happens above the ground must be rooted on the invisible elements below the ground. And so this is important for us as we talanoa across the board in the sessions that we've had. We've heard both sides, what is important to both sides. And so above the ground, the conditions for it to be able to thrive and to continue sustainably for the future, this is important for everybody to be aware of and to help support each other in the system. And this across again, it covers workplaces, government, as we heard today and probably tomorrow, their roles that they play in the RSE space. not just for our Pacific people, but also for our employers and here in Aotearoa of our economy. And so part of this work, in terms of what we look for the future, is to design a 360 maturity growth model that will help to identify where do you see yourself in this model and this framework, and what does it mean to flourish. From the starting of the point of your RSE journey right until that thriving and that flourishing element, what does it look for both sides? How do we balance it? How do we bring it to life? And how do we continue to sustain a space, as we heard from the remarks given this morning, a multi-million-dollar industry for our economy? As our people benefit from it, our employers, as we heard, have benefited from the work of our RSE. Their roots and the anchor that we have to do, the hands that go into this framework, and who will be part of it, is what we look to do in terms of this work. We hope that this framework, as we share and it gets endorsed through the consultation process, this framework, we believe, is a living document rather than a document that should be parked on the side. We want it to have mana in the space, not just for our people, but also for employers and Aotearoa as well, for this economy and for the profit margins of our industry. And so part of this work, on our next round, we're doing testing and refining the module as 3 steps in this, socializing the draft, and this is already starting as part of the consultation on every key stakeholder that we've spoken so far, as you've seen, and we're going through all this test case through life scenarios and cases that we believe will be beneficial to help this framework as well. And as we refine and finalize this framework with the support of many of you, we want to make sure that this framework, as we see it, that we leave it in good hands, and we know that this space is needed for both our employees and our employers as well. So to end us, as we talanoa, book in a talanoa with our team as well, please do scan the QR code from our team if you wanted to have a talanoa with us. But to close us off, as part of our work here, we look forward to presenting this in its full force, and we leave it in the hands of those who are going to take care and use this as mana for our people. As our people come together, we pray and hope that this symbolizes the journey, not just for today, but a journey of the RSE space for over years and what they will look like for the future. On behalf of the Center for Pacific Languages and my 2 staff members who lead this as well, with Sachi and Nyara, we acknowledge everybody that's been in the space and has given us an opportunity to be part of this. Venaka vakalevu mei taki maata, ta lofa, and also whawhetai tele lava malo au pito. Foi axia.